Hello everyone, this is Rufus Shinra from the Shinra Corporation, welcoming you to our new Raid Shadow Legends video. And if you're here following the trailer I posted yesterday, I thank you very much, and I will not make you wait long before showing out the builds for the team that we are discussing today. But before that, just a couple of notes. This is not my account. This is Chief Iba's account, who is a member of our clan. He's a very good friend over Discord and in Raid Shadow Legends in general. And we collaborated quite a few times to work on his account to think of new compositions. So the teaser video I posted yesterday showed a speed composition doing close to 80 million damage on the Nightmare clan boss. And I wanted to put out as a disclaimer that the Great Hall is not a super developed Great Hall. As you can see, it's fairly well balanced. It's shaping up, but it's not the main cause. The real reason why this comp is doing damage is purely synergy. Because even if we take a look at the gear is decent. It's by no means a low-level gear, but it's not OP gear. It's not super endgame gear. There is a lot of room for improvement. So without further ado, and if you are here purely for the comp, purely for the gear, purely for the stats, this is what we will start with. I will then follow that with a quick key on Nightmare to show you how the comp does in the fight, and perhaps I might even drop one on Ultra Nightmare. I'm not yet sure. So let's dive in immediately and we'll take a look at the team. So this is the team that we're using: Sifi, Rotos, Dracomorph, Duchess, and Padma. So the roles here are pretty self-explanatory. Padma brings the attack down and only the attack down to the comp, along with a bit of damage. Dracomorph brings poisons, defense down, and weaken. And he's well known in Clan Boss. He's one of the best champions to have in Clan Boss. But again, you could replace Dracomorph with another poisoner if you have them. That's not the main core. So the core of the team are these three champions. These champions are what makes this comp overpowered, at least as far as I can say. So let's start with Duchess Lilitu. This comp is a purely speed-based comp. As you can see here, the gear is... You still have some uncommon gear on her. We have gear that is not yet rolled to 12. We have gear that is okay, but not, again, super endgame gear. So, as you can see, only a single piece of legendary gear, which is the banner for HP. So, starting off with Duchess, these are the stats. She has 51k HP, 4.3k defense, 246 speed. Again, this could be improved. Low crit rate and crit damage, and low accuracy because we don't need that really. So this is the Duchess Lilitu. Her masteries are as follows. So she has the offense and support tree. Offense tree for obvious reasons, just so that we could get to War Master and dish out a little bit of damage, and support tree to help her shields, her heals, have a little bit of a cooldown reduction, and also some additional boost to the buffs that she places with lasting gifts. So a very classic support clan boss build for a speed team. This is Duchess Lilitu. Going on to Rotos. So Rotos was initially built in this account for Arena, but there was a little bit of a tweak around his masteries so that he could also be usable in clan boss. Rotos here is in Relentless and Speed. Again, nothing too fancy except a few pieces here that might have given us some nice rolls. So crit damage gloves with triple roll on crit rate, so that we could have as much crit rate as we can and as much crit damage as we can. But again, by no means maximum values. As you can see, we have about 27,000 HP, 4,000 attack, 2,600 defense, 176 speed, 100%, a little bit over that in crit chance, and 232% crit damage. So this is our boy Rotos. He's rocking an attack chest and speed boots. So not even defense anywhere, because that would be counterproductive for his damage. He's purely there as a glass cannon We've added in a defense ring with a little bit of an attack roll here, attack percent roll, so that it could help. Crit damage ring, of course, and attack banner. This could be interchanged or replaced with an HP banner, but both work phenomenally. And I will come back a little bit on why we put Rotos on Relentless and not in Savage gear or in Cruel gear or in any other damage boosting gear. And finally, the MVP, the last MVP of the trio, is Sifi, the Lost Bride. So here she's in full speed set, along with a couple pieces of divine speed, and these are her stats. So she's a 65,000 HP, 3,600 defense, 302 speed, and the rest doesn't matter really for the comp that we're running. So she's rocking HP, chest, and gauntlets, as well as speed boots, and she has defense on the banner, defense on the ring, and defense on the amulet. So Sifi could benefit from a little bit more defense all around, but the reason why we put her on HP is because of her skill set, which we will take a look at right after the masteries. So the masteries again, she's going down the offense tree as well as the support tree, very similar to Duchess in the build. And again, this is nothing that we put specifically a ton of work on. This was a team initially built for Arena that we repurposed for Clan Boss, and it works really, really well. Now onto, I think I didn't show the masteries for Rotos, my bad. So Rotos is on defense tree plus offense with War Master. You could go for Helm Smasher or for Flawless Execution for either added critical damage or the possibility to ignore defense, but this does help a lot in Clan Boss because of his extra turns, as you might have already guessed. So now, why does this team work so well together? So Sifi and Rotos, that's a no-brainer. They are built to be a pair, they work in tandem, and they work really well in tandem. But again, what might not come as evident is that we have a ton of damage mitigation potential when these three are on the same team. And let me go into the skills so that we can see that more in detail. So I figured that everybody is familiar with Rotos' kit, but there's no harm in going over it once more. So this Rotos is fully booked, by the way. So his A1 has a 75% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense for 2 turns, but this is not why it's used in this case. This is where the A1 becomes a very, very powerful tool, so it has 30% chance of granting an extra turn, meaning on top of Relentless, this chance goes up, so he will be proccing extra turns very, very frequently whenever he uses his A1. His A2 allows him to steal HP from the opponents. If it's a normal opponent, meaning a non-boss enemy, you can steal up to 20% of the max HP of the enemy and then reduce the enemy's max HP and augment his own max HP by that amount. When we're talking about Clan Boss or other bosses, that reduction is capped a little bit, so he can only increase his HP by a maximum of 15,000 when he's fighting against the boss. So each hit of this attack will increase his own max HP by 15,000 for a maximum of 60,000, meaning he can only use it 4 times before it becomes, or before he can, he will not be able to increase his HP further. But again, the multipliers on both his A1 and A2 are great. The added bonus from the skill books also is very, very powerful, and these attacks do a lot of damage. And finally, his most powerful attack will ignore 75% of the target's defense and ignore other buffs, etc., but this is not relevant to Clan Boss. So this attack also hits very hard, and all of the 3 attacks scale off of attack and HP. So his attack is decent at 4k, it could be much higher. With the crit damage that he has and with the HP that he gains from the Vitality Plunder, his attacks start hitting really, really hard. And this is the explanation for the big numbers that we see him putting up in Clan Boss. But last but not least, his passive, it's a great passive, is that it decreases the damage taken from the boss by 15% if Rotos is by himself. And if Sifi is in the team, the damage reduction is goes up to 30%. So this is a huge damage mitigation. It's on par with other damage mitigation champions there. So it's a great tool to last longer in Clan Boss and to allow the team to survive for as long as it can. Going to Sifi. So Sifi has all sorts of interesting attacks, so we'll just focus on the ones that are of note in Clan Boss. So here, just noting this booking situations, we have a couple of books on her A1, her A2 is fully booked, and her A3 is still missing one book in order to reduce the cooldown for it. So her A1, what it does for us in Clan Boss, so it heals the allies by 5% of their max HP if the target's turn meter is below 50%. So if it hits the Clan Boss early on, it can still heal the characters. The A2 places block debuffs, 60% increased defense and 30% increased speed for all allies for 2 turns. And then there is Love Beyond Death, which revives a single target with 55% HP and a full turn meter, and places a 50% increased attack buff and 30% increased crit rate buff on the allies for 2 turns. So this attack will always be able to revive whenever it's not on cooldown, and since it's 5 turns, but our Sifi is super fast, it's as if it was on 3 or 4 turns maximum. So this attack will proc a lot of time, and once it's booked, she will be able to use it even more often, making her a crazy revive, because not only does she revive the characters, she heals them, she adds an increased crit rate, which is especially useful for, we could build, for example, Rotos with less crit rate and more crit damage. So it offers insane possibilities for the team. And finally, we have the passive. So it heals each ally by 15% of their max HP at the start of their turn, and has 40% of chance of removing debuffs such as Fear and Freeze, and removes all debuffs from Rotos Lost Room at the start of their turn if they are on the same team. So Rotos, he's set as far as debuff removal. He will always get cleansed by Sifi every single turn. And finally, the aura, it's about resistance, but we'll not be using it. So these are the 3 champions that compose the core of the team. We could have anybody instead of Padma. We could arguably, well, Dracomorph is pretty hard to replace since he brings a lot to the table. He has a ton of poisons, and he has the weaken and defense down on 3 turn cooldown, so this is absolutely impossible to beat practically. But there's always a chance to experiment and see if we could use other champions in that comp, namely Barakazar or etc., to change out the layout. But again, these 3 here, they're an incredible asset for anyone having them. So if you have them, use them in your team, use them in a speed team specifically, because this is what Sifi's kit is best fit for, and experiment. Alright, so this has been the breakdown of the gear and the abilities of our champions. So if you're still here and want to see what they can do on Clan Boss, I will be doing a run right now to show you how that comp functions. Alright, so she's already too fast for me. She's already placed all her buffs. So do we need to place anything from here from Duchess? We don't need to increase the defense right away, because we already have the buffs from Sifi. So the main idea here, there's nothing too, let's say, out of the box that we're going to do. We're just aiming for maximum damage and maximum damage mitigation. Here's Sifi, so just getting familiar with her kit. Okay. So we'll just keep hitting those A1s on most of the characters, placing the poisons with Draco. So Sifi here, of course, she goes twice per turn. She's ultra fast. Yeah, so this could be good when the boss is under affinity. The A2 never wanted to use it. The A1 is why she's here. She'll be placing the attack down. And her, as you can see, her multipliers are pretty nice. So here, Rotos hoping for a... And here, Sifi. We can just keep doing this with Sifi. So Duchess will be mainly there as a backup protection champion, and for eventually the revive when the boss starts hitting hard and taking down our team. Alright, so the team, it will be... Yeah, we'll keep going like this. I will cut in a few seconds, and then I will meet you back for the last rounds of the game for the results. Alright, so this concludes our video on the Trio of Death. As I said before, you will find a link down below with all their gears and masteries. And if you'd like to join our community, there is also a link for our Discord. We discuss the game pretty much 24/7, helping players of all levels improve in different areas of the game. And I'd like also to add that I've been doing quite a few takeovers over time, over the last couple of months. I must have done, I think, over 100, maybe 105. So I was intended initially to limit my free takeovers to 100, but since the current situation is not the best for everyone, I decided to extend that number by 25 additional takeovers, and there are, I think, 20 free spots for grabs, so don't hesitate if you're interested. Of course, this is only an opportunity for me to go in depth with your account, try to tweak what I can tweak so that you could improve in different areas of the game. If all you need is just to discuss, or if you need pointers, the community is there. I'm not the only one helping. There are plenty of other players, and we're growing by the day. So, right, this would conclude our Clan Boss Trio of Death video, and I hope to see you in next future videos. So please subscribe, like, and stay tuned. Rufus Shinra, signing out. Alright, and we are right about at the end of the fight, so let's see if we can last a couple more rounds just by trying to revive Duchess. And, well, we've lasted about 27 minutes in this fight, and I'm hoping for big numbers here. Alright, so last couple of rounds with Rotos coming in clutch with the consecutive extra turns. Alright, that should be it. Come on, he still wants to go. Alright, cool. So let's see how much damage we've done on... Nightmare was void when we started hitting it. So 63.17 damage, not too shabby. Let's take a look at the damage from the different champions. So we have 24 million from Rotos, 20 million from Dracomorph, Sifi put in 5 million, Padma 8, and Duchess Lily to 4.7 million. So this comp can do a lot more damage, but the general idea is that, yes, Sifi, Rotos, and Duchess are an absolutely nightmarish trio for any clan boss difficulty, really. Alright, so this concludes our video on the Trio of Death. As I said before, you will find a link down below with all their gears and masteries. And if you'd like to join our community, there is also a link for our Discord. We discuss the game pretty much 24/7, helping players of all levels improve in different areas of the game. And I'd like also to add that I've been doing quite a few takeovers over time, over the last couple of months. I must have done, I think, over 100, maybe 105. So I was intended initially to limit my free takeovers to 100, but since the current situation is not the best for everyone, I decided to extend that number by 25 additional takeovers, and there are, I think, 20 free spots for grabs, so don't hesitate if you're interested. Of course, this is only an opportunity for me to go in depth with your account, try to tweak what I can tweak so that you could improve in different areas of the game. If all you need is just to discuss, or if you need pointers, the community is there. I'm not the only one helping. There are plenty of other players, and we're growing by the day. So, right, this would conclude our Clan Boss Tree of Death video, and I hope to see you in next future videos. So please subscribe, like, and stay tuned. Rufus Shinra, signing out.